If you ever wonder how you could lose in the bye week, we're going to talk about it here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show, a Hog Media production. That's Coop. I'm Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. While you're here, please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review. Give us those 5 stars. I think we deserve it. Go ahead and give us 5 anyway and gift it. So on today's episode, which is presented by Sleeper, if you're not using them for daily fantasy football, you're missing out. Make sure you go check them out. We're going to talk about the thumb, because there's some thumb action that's happening out there in the world. We're also going to talk about some players returning from injury. So I think that injury update is actually some good news. And then we'll wrap some stuff up. We'll talk schedule, because me and Coop haven't got a chance to dive into it. We'll talk about the new opponents. We'll talk about how all that stuff's supposed to work out. So, Coop, happy Wednesday, man. I'm so glad you were able to come a little bit later. We was able to go live for everybody. As you can see, I have a plain background because I'm traveling, and yeah, I missed out on all the action, man. How's it going?
Hey, doing good. I'm glad that travel was the opposite of what it typically is for you, getting a chance to arrive early and get some stuff set up. But hey, listen, we're live on a bye week and got plenty to talk about.
We do. And as the questions are coming in here, yes, we do have the thumb on the pulse here. Mark, we've got a lot of things to really dive into, because when the news dropped yesterday, that's the bad part. I was actually in an all-day meeting. First, I was flew out late on Monday, super delayed multiple times. So I was all right. But then I had all-day meetings, and I'm just like, as I'm finishing up my portion, I'm just kind of waiting around, and we go to lunch, and I look at my phone. I'm like, oh, no. Start to see the text messages come in. Then from there, I look. I'm like, oh, no. Oklahoma put out a statement. And I'm like, oh, no. It just killed me, dog. I don't even know what to think, Coop. I'm just sitting there looking at this. So we're going to dive into we're going to lead off with that. And it's been so hectic for me for the last 2 days that, like, I haven't dropped a video to even talk about this. So this is besides doing Locked On late last night with John, and we talked about it this morning. But me and you, Coop, we got to dive into this, man. It's kind of sad. Thank y'all for joining us. SBC Bates, thank you for the $2 on your way to Iceland. Ooh, y'all give him some audiobook recommendations, because that's a trip. Goodness gracious. And as RDS has to remind y'all, stay in the water. Think we're safe for now, but besides all the craziness though, Coop, where were you when the news came down that our beloved Heisman Trophy candidate, John Mateer, is going to have thumb surgery?
You know exactly where I was. And it was kind of a funny thing, so I'll share it with everybody. So we've got kind of a group text going on with some good folks. A lot of the inside stuff comes in and out of there. And I think I said, hey, I'm hearing that the thumb might be a little bit more intense than we originally thought. And I said, obviously he was able to finish the game. And so I kind of gave my bold take that, hey, maybe it's not that big of a deal. Maybe it is. I said, I guess we'll kind of just wait and find out. And then it was like 90 seconds later. I look at my phone again. A couple guys had replied, and then you posted the breaking news from Sooner Scoop. And so we said, well, all right.
No. That wasn't from Sooner Scoop. That was from OU.
No, you did the first one from Sooner Scoop.
Did I do Scoop first? Oh, I did do Scoops first.
Scoop
and then
was
I did
first.
OU right afterwards. That is true. You're
Scoops
right. My bad.
was first, and then because I was listening to their pod like right before we jumped on, and George was talking about about dropping that, and I don't get to listen to the unofficial 40 very often, but they were talking about it. But then they dropped one, then Nakos dropped one, and so. I recorded a video today that we're going to get edited and sent out, and kind of my take on everything in a more deeper nature. But, hey, listen, I will just say that I think that best case scenario, John Mateer gives us kind of a memorable performance against Texas. Worst case scenario, you get to see some Hawkins action for 4 weeks, and Mateer is coming back for Auburn, for goodness gracious, for Ole Miss. So
yeah, Auburn's already over.
Getting that information was it was a roller coaster. That's for sure.
Definitely, yeah. So let's put a pin on that portion of it. We can talk timelines in a second, because I know that's what a lot of people want to know. The biggest thing when it comes to that timeline for him, it's contingent on today. Right now, basically probably a few hours ago, details on how the surgery went, anything that comes out. So we're basically, if y'all want to, feel free to keep refreshing on social media for us and let us know if something pops with any details. But I do not anticipate, getting us hearing much, if you want me to be honest. I don't anticipate us hearing a lot for the next 24 hours, probably not till tomorrow after the surgery's done and about a day of treatment has happened, swelling and all of that. They make a determination at that point. So we're kind of in the waiting and see role, which I hate. But with that being said, for me, I'm going to lunch and looking down like, oh, man. And my phone basically is getting burned through all day because the message is going back and forth, talking to Discords and stuff. And then my phone basically, I got to about like 2% before we finally left all the meetings of the day and dinner. And I got it back to the room and I'm just like, plug in. And I think I'm about to die because I'm exhausted. But on that though, Coop, this is the thing that fascinated me. And this is why I wanted to talk about it again, because as I really dug into this stuff, there was 3 things that jumped out to me. First off, the fact that OU put a statement out. That caught my attention because, yeah, you do have situations where the team will put out a statement or a press release or whatnot when someone's be out for the season or something like that. But the nature of that announcement on a Tuesday like that felt like it was purposeful. It did not feel like it was a scramble. It felt like it was planned.
Very much.
It felt fully planned, which was fascinating. And then the second thing that was intriguing on all of this was the source off. You had about 4 or 5 different sources, gives you 4 or 5 different timelines and ideas. The last thing that really jumped out to me in all of this was after you see these source offs and you see Oklahoma actually put out an official statement on it, you start seeing the comparisons of other injuries similar in timelines. So I say that specifically, and again, thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5. I say that because it feels like this was very calculated.
Very much.
And that's why I say it. And if it's this calculated, there has to be a legitimate plan of action for him to return as soon as possible. Like right now, he's pulled off the Heisman Trophy number. And for the uninitiated, Mateer hurt his thumb on a pass in the first quarter?
Yes.
First quarter. One of the first drives. He threw the pass deep to Satania. He missed Satania. And he had his thumb like tucked like this or something like that. And he hit, or inside of like something weird. Something weird. You just see his thumb sticking. But
yeah,
he hit the edge for Auburn, Falk, on his arm. So that's where the injury happened, and he played the entire game, which was even that jumped out too. That he was able to finish the entire game, and he had that drive where second half he was at one point they said like 16 for 17 or something like that. I may be wrong, but I thought that was interesting. He finished the game no problem. Hand was swollen on Monday if you watched him on any of his media appearances. But you could tell that he was probably going to try to not play. He was going to try to play through it and finish the season. But then after getting some opinions, they're like, nah, you probably need to do something about that. That will short and, like BV says, short and long term allow for you to continue to play. So people were saying in the comments, but am I overthinking this, Coop? Because it really does feel calculated. No. And I'm not sure what that means, but it feels calculated.
I think I have an opinion on what it means because typically what you're going to see is if it's something big, whether it's, recruiting news, whether it's something about, an injury at the university, you're going to see somebody like OU Insider, 247, Sooner Scoop, put that out, or, one of us. We typically don't like to break injury news until it's been put out. You and I kind of stay away from it. But what happened was that came out, and then it was like almost every 5 minutes. It was like NACOS and then ESPN being one of the early ones. It felt like there was a distributed communication.
Yes.
That this was going 100%. To happen. And I'm just going to say, and yeah, David Whitehead, you're correct. He also was running around with a sprained knee that nobody really knew about either. And, you and I talked about that a little before. He had the big leg sleeve on. He had a brace. It was wrapped up pretty well. But I really do think that it was going to be, a situation where if it was like oh, crap, and somebody found out and broke the news, there'd be a little while before and ESPN hops in, but because it was within minutes, I don't believe it. So,
yeah,
overthinking it, no. I think that they came out of it. They went in. Some of the stuff that I've kind of heard was they got some opinions on it. They presented John and the family with opinions, medical opinions. Hey, this is what we can do. From my understanding is there was an expectation. Mateer apparently has gone out and, was like, hey, guys, I'm going to be back for Texas. Like, keep the boat running. I'm coming back. So I think that we will have speculation for 17 days. That's not going to go anywhere. That's going to be 100% speculation, 17 days. Where I'm saying for you fans out there, I would say I'm less likely, and don't let PTSD over 2024 affect this, because I really think that they got some assurances. Like, if everything went spectacular, could he play on October 11th? And I think they got enough that said, let's go.
Let's make an attempt. Let's try for it, just in case, right? So in this situation and in this case, what we now know is Mateer's not going to be playing for at least, at minimum, Kent State. Possibly Texas as well as South Carolina. In his return be the Ole Miss game. Like I said, there's massive possibilities on all of it. With that being said, now we're leaning right into, as OU Mike pointed out and a few others have, it's Hawk time.
Yes.
And I want to say this about Hawk. And I want y'all to hear me well when I say this. Give me a second, though. We're going to pay a bill. I do want to talk about Hawkins. You think you know ball? If you do, put your knowledge to the test. Check out Sleeper, one of the best daily fantasy football apps out there in the industry. They've got some of the best promos as well as some of the best options in daily fantasy. What you do is 2 or more players, pick more or less on their statistics, touchdowns, receiving yards, anytime touchdowns, and then you can take advantage of one of their promos where they'll give you like half a yard on a passing on a quarterback that you know is going to play in the game. So check them out. Use our promo code UNFAIR and you will get 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5. Shout out to our partners at Sleeper. Definitely go. You want to support us, support our sponsors. Coop. Hawkins is now coming in. And I wanted to say this specifically because I want folks to kind of just hear me out. It's like not a lecture or anything, but I want y'all to hear me out. Don't take how last season ended and even how this one began as your measuring stick of what you will get from Michael Hawkins. I say that because there's two factors that we have to remember in this. One, the offensive situation was not very good for anybody last year. He was able to overcome in the Auburn game, which was great because it was kind of him going out there, spark plug type situation. But as things settled and you start dealing with more injuries, it didn't go the way we wanted it, right? Navy, there was a lot of things in that game we could break down. But I felt like the Temple game was a lot more him being cold, him just being tossed out there, while at the same time, him still learning the playbook. We are only 4 weeks in. The only people that walked in this bad boy was Arbuckle and Mateer knowing the book. Kuzieski is, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him we should give him a little grace, give him a little grace in this. But I think with Arbuckle's tutelage and building up his confidence, I think Michael Hawkins, I know Michael Hawkins is going to go off against Kent State. There's no reason why he shouldn't, right? That's the game he better go off on. If we have to ride with multiple games, we're definitely going to lean twice as hard on our defense this year while hopefully getting him out there feeling comfortable with slinging it. Because we know he can. We've seen him throw it. We've seen him sling it. We've seen him move. And the best part, Coop, and I'll get off my soapbox, is this pass protection is ridiculously good. Ridiculously good.
Yeah.
It's very good. And listening to Gabe over there at the Oklahoma Breakdown talk about how great Jake Michael is in pass protection, he's like, dude, he's ridiculously good. And so, like, his advice to the guards is go help the tackles, help each other interior.
Yeah.
Michael can handle himself. Just make sure you don't let free guys go. I've got mixed feelings like a lot of you, while at the same time, I do believe that Hawkins will provide us what we're hoping for, especially in Kent State. I think that'll be that'll make you, I think Kent State's going to make y'all feel better. Let's just put it that way. What do you think about the Hawkins piece?
Well, Jay, my nifty notepad number 11. Let's say this. Starting off, Hawkins never got a ramp-up game last year.
No, he didn't.
It was, hey, dude's not making it out here. Get out there. We got no offensive line, capabilities at all. Get out there and let's see what you can do against Tennessee. Dude's 18 years old. He gets a week to go to Auburn. Auburn still was a pretty good defense last year.
They were.
But here's the starting lineup. Tarquin at left tackle, Jacob Sexton at left guard, Branson Hickman, Fabici, and Jake Taylor. And then his battery here on the, it was him and Javonte Barnes were the only two people that had a rushing stat in that game. His receivers were J.J. Hester, doing nothing at Kentucky, Bauer Sharp, doing nothing at LSU. Brandon Thompson had been looking good. I mean, he had like 3 catches for 18 yards or something like that this week. And then Jaquez Petaway also doing nothing at Houston. So I will say this is, first and foremost, this week is about getting healthy. You got to get Michaela, you got to get Fasusi, you got to get Fabici. All three of these guys, they got to get some good rest. You're getting a couple of the offensive linemen, closer to healthy on the backup status of things. But going against Kent State, one of the worst teams in the country, that's going to be a game that if those starters can play in 10 days, Sure, go for it. Get in. Let's do some work in the first, second quarter, and let's get them out, and let's get some of the backups in. Receivers, though, Jay. Deion Burks, Isaiah Satania, Keontez Lewis, Jaron Kanik, and welcome to the SEC, Giovanni Gibson. And if you guys are, you've seen it in there. I saw somebody put in something. Giovanni is practicing now.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute, but yeah.
We saw him going through the drills and stuff during the game for Auburn. So I think that Hawkins gets a full week of prep without a game this week. He gets a full week before Kent State. And then here's the big thing that is very, 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 very crucial, Jay. Texas at minimum, but Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, whatever it is, those coaching staffs have to prepare for John Mateer and no relevant film of Michael Hawkins. You don't get to see what Hawkins has been learning for the past 9 months and change. You don't get to see in Kent State. You're going to be running vanilla, so you're not going to see that either. This line with all of its downfalls on the rushing side of things, they have been really phenomenal at blocking when it comes to pass protection. And so you're going to put him in a completely new and, amazing opportunity against Kent State. And then, like I said, we will not know about John Mateer playing until probably 2:30 on October the 11th. That's probably when we're going to know for sure. Because I'm promising you this, the rumors are going to be phenomenal. The stuff going out and being put out by different people is going to be amazing. And Texas is going to have no idea who runs out until someone runs out. Yeah. But I think Hawkins has now had 9+ months of Ben Arbuckle, Kuzieski. He's been able to watch these things. He's got an offensive line. He's got weapons around him. And last point of my soapbox is now you can take DeMarco Murray, you can have Bill Bedenbaugh, you can have the entire offensive coaching staff. They can go all to the guys like Jaden Ott and say, all right, guys, we got a little bit of a reset. It's time to double down. Everything is new. What are you going to do?
Yeah. That's going to be the key thing we're going to need to double down. We're going to need to grind this out. We're going to need to it's going to be a challenge. And I think all these players are up for that. If anything, as we talked about numerous times, we've beaten this dead horse on numerous occasions. We got to get our run game going. That's one thing we got to get established. We get our run game established, I think we'll see overall success. And I know that we'll get to that point. Because to me, it feels more scheme than anything. And Arbuckle's done a fantastic job of just developing quarterbacks. The proof is in the pudding.
That's the piece that I didn't even touch on.
Right.
Is the absolute just joke of an offensive coordinating staff last year versus Arbuckle.
Buckle knows what he's doing when it comes to that. So now we talk about that. It's going to be we're going to lean heavily in on, like I said, Michael Hawkins. The run game, though, is the one thing I'm thinking we're going to have to do. And I want to talk about that real quick, and then we're going to talk about these injury updates. We'll talk about Giovanni as well as Eli, because I think that they both deserve, some conversation. But so Hawkins will be playing. You'll have a week to get everybody else healthy. I'm expecting Fasusi to be ready, but you probably don't play him against Kent State. You let Logan Howland get his reps. Depending on Michaela, heck, you may actually let Owen get some reps, but you're probably going to play Michaela just to make sure you can get the big lead and then bring in young players. And then anybody else that's dealing with ailments, you'll probably sit them most of the game. That way they can, like I said, start feeling better. But we got to get that run game going. And so that's where this conversation comes in, as everybody's mentioning in the comments. Literally, this question comes out every week. What's up with Jay Knott? None of us know really what's up with Jay Knott. There's rumors flying from him still being injured to him not adjusting. You saw Mateer's comments of just trying to get him going. BV said the same thing. you're going to keep hearing that nonstop. To me, shout out to our guy Brig. Put his butt on the field. I want Jay not. Get him on the 100%. Field in Kent State. You make it happen, or we can both move on. Because then, if Kent State's a game where he just can't get it going, it's just not going to work. And it happens. Duds happen in life. You're not going to be perfect in your picks of players ever, recruiting, anything. We just need to go and make sure that we push. We need to get going. I don't think Torrey needs to get going too much more, but you'll probably play him a little bit. But I think and any other backs that are healthy needs to get going in that game.
There's so much that goes into that. There's a little bit of DeMarco. Like, is it just him? Is it how he coaches? Right. There's been the minor injuries, the hamstring with X-Rob, Tatum's wrist. All these guys are now practicing. If you're worried about your draft stock, Mr. Ott, sitting out a whole second year with a team that is trying to go win a conference, trying to get in the playoffs, like, that ain't going to help it. And a healthy shoulder in March, April ain't going to, you're sliding. And especially with the dude calling the player personnel stuff, people are going to listen to Nagy, and he's going to be honest. He's, that he vouched for him. So I'm with you. It's time to put up or shut up. You get his butt out there, and if he can't go and shake and bake with the against Kent State, and if you can't go and give me a good solid week of practice, then it's Tatum's ready. X-Rob's going to be ready now. Those guys are going to be out there. You got Blaylock, you got Barnes. If we don't see it this week, it's not. But Jay, just the running game in general, I think that the escapability of and the backup quarterback factor for the offense and the offensive line especially, because we know the wide receiver's been blocking their asses off. They've been doing a phenomenal job. Every single time you see a good run, you see a great block by a wide receiver. So I'm pretty stoked about that. We called it out last year with guys like Reagan's out there, 160 pounds, soaking wet, with 5-pound weights on his ankles, like trying to block a defensive back. It just wasn't spectacular. It wasn't good. It wasn't even like it's passable. It was just bad. But you're seeing that. So this offensive line, I think, will rise to the challenge of, hey, guys, now we need to make this a focus. This needs to be something. What are the running game? What's the running, what are the running calls? Is it an inside zone? Is it outside zone, mid zone, gap scheme? What are we looking at? What do you guys feel comfortable with? Finding out, 5 or 6 things that Jay Knott wants to do, Torrey Blaylock wants to do. That's where you go do this, because Kent State's, God bless their hearts. Kent State is going to be like a light day at practice. We know what this defensive line is, right? And so if you can't go out there and do those things against Kent State, then there's issues going forward. Now, do I think that we're going to go out and run for 350 against Kent State? I'm guessing no. But I do think that having some intention and getting out there and with some goals in mind, each one of the running backs averaging at least 4.5 or more per carry, that's what your goal is. You want to see guys not missing, just not completely missing blocks.
Right.
And so, but at the same time, like, we want Hawkins to really probably get 20 or so passes in at least. And then, because of the nature of the beast, we want to see Whit Neubauer in the second half. So you're going to need this, this tune-up. But don't get it twisted, Jay. This week, next week, and Texas week is all about prepping for Texas. You're going to be running against K-State as if you're trying to block Texas. Like, that's your goal. Now, the athletes are completely different because Texas has a legitimate defense. You're going to want to avoid mistakes, because I think that game is going to be which team can do the fewest amount of mistakes, which defense can set offense up in, I guess positive, territory, give you the best options. But You're right. It's you want to see the offense really play with some intention and, take people's souls on offense. Like, that's what you want to do. You want to see some what you're seeing on defense happen on offense.
Right, and I think that Michael Hawkins can give us a lot of that. Like, I
got no doubt.
I got no doubt that Hawkins can get it, and I think my confidence in Hawkins leans heavily also into the fact that Ben Arbuckle is going to be the one leading him. So,
yeah.
Okay. We got more things to talk about. Let's jump into here, Coop. Let's talk about these injuries. Let's pay these bills first. You think you know ball? If you do, put your knowledge to the test. Check out Sleeper, one of the best daily fantasy football apps out there in the industry. They've got some of the best promos as well as some of the best options in daily fantasy. What you do is 2 or more players, pick more or less on their statistics, touchdowns, receiving yards, anytime touchdowns, and then you can take advantage of one of their promos where they'll give you like half a yard on a passing on a quarterback that you know is going to play in the game. So check them out. Use our promo code UNFAIR and you will get 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Once again, thank y'all for pulling up. Hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5. I see y'all in the chat fighting with the industry troll. Never feed the trolls or avoid it as much as possible. I do. Like I said, I don't even see any of them. Thank goodness. Injury updates. You mentioned it earlier, Coop. Giovanni Gibson as well as Eli Bowen are both back. Shout out to the Red Dirt Media, as well as all of the media outlet, all of the insiders. They've all basically, posted that these two will have returned to practice. So you'll get Eli Bowen on defense. So you'll get another experienced corner. I know Kendall Dolby has been getting back into the groove. Then you get Giovanni Gibson at the wide receiver spot. And then, as you mentioned, Coop, Tatum is expected to be out there playing again, is out there practicing, which that's a plus. Yep. X-Rob's hamstring looks solid. He's back practicing. So it appears that we're starting to get healthier at the right time. And honestly, this goes back to what I talked about before about the optimal spots of our bye weeks and stuff. Like, this 5-game stretch is going to be bananas. You got Kent State, then Texas, travel to South Carolina, Ole Miss at the crib, and then you travel to Tennessee. Like, it's going to be a 5-game gauntlet. But then you get a break once again before you go to Bama and then back-to-back home games, which always helps to wrap the season up. And as we're waiting to see what goes on with Mateer, I think this Giovanni Gibson news is going to really help. It's going to really help Hawkins really get himself going.
We've got the good blend between Satania and Burks. You got a good blend of your speed inside guys. I'm just going to say, like, these guys have been phenomenal. These guys are doing these bucket catches on the sideline. I think that we're up to 5 so far in the season to where Mateer's put the ball out on the sideline and in perfect placement to 2 smaller guys. So now you get Gibson back, who's 6'2" and change, a bigger body guy. He gives you more possession to go with Keontae Lewis. On top of that, you also have Jaren Kanak still leading the nation in receiving yards for a tight end. So where I really get excited with this stuff is, it adds another weapon. You get that rotation in there, and we heard all of the hype in the offseason, in the spring with Giovanni Gibson. There was some fear that, it might be longer, it might be more time till he came back. So you add another weapon in there, and I mentioned it before. J.J. Hester, Bauer Sharp, Brennan Thompson, and Jaquez Petaway. were the guys that Hawkins was throwing to the last time he was in. And so you got, obviously, these are better weapons. I'm really excited to see just the when you blend in the capability of Michael Hawkins taking off and running, because it's different. Mateer is going to grind out yards. He's going to find the spaces. He's going to find those types of things. Hawkins gets loose once or twice, and then all of a sudden you've got somebody dedicated to him, and you get in that +1, running game. But also the options that you have with, the sweeps, the speed sweeps that you could run, where you have faking Satania or Burks coming one way. Defense has to check for that. You have maybe a speed option type of an opportunity, or a speed RPO with a belay lock or a Tatum, running out the opposite way. You've got Kanik, who takes who clips somebody and then leaks out. And then you also have crossers with the faster Satania and Burks. I think that you end it with a nice one-on-one on the outside with Javonte Gibson. Again, pushing 6'3", bigger body dude. So there's a lot more capability on the offense, and a lot of people thought that dude was probably going to be the leading receiver heading into the season prior to the injury. Regardless to say, Jay, I just talked about a bunch of different options, and when you don't know what's coming and you have an offensive coordinator who actually can scheme some things open and take advantage of people's plus side as far as their athletic ability and their capabilities, I think that just by nature it's going to open up a lot more stuff.
Yeah, and Gabe kind of mentioned this too on the Oklahoma Breakdown, that he thinks that as we get healthier on the line with the starters that we want to play, that the run game will start to pick itself up. And it's more of a learning type deal. You got your 4-week tape. You can go review it, point out, look, this is what you guys are doing each game. This is where we need to improve, because I know a lot of people are, not upset about are upset about the run game, and I totally understand that. The pass protection has been phenomenal. Like, let's not pretend like there's not anything good that's happening with this line. The pass pro has been outstanding. Like, Mateer's had time, like lots of time. Now, there's been some busted moments, of course, yes, because you've moved some players around due to little nicks, little things too. Nothing, quote unquote, knock on wood, super serious, but the pass pro's been great. We've had time. Yeah. That's the thing you got to be excited about, is that we've got time. Lemon, I do not know who the refs are yet. That's actually, I got to look up the officials or whatnot on that. But Javonte coming back, though, being healthy and getting a tune-up game with Kent State's going to really help with his, probably help more so than anything with his psyche. I think that's the thing that gets me the most excited about him.
Yeah. And I mean, we continue to say it is, I'm excited to see Javonte get in, because, I mean, like I said, with Hawkins, he didn't have a warm-up game. It was just kind of you get thrown out in the middle of it. Yep. Nick Anderson, same type of situation, didn't get a warm-up game to kind of really test himself out, just came out, ran against Tennessee. They were thumping that night. And so you don't need a ton out of Javonte. You just want to see some routes being ran. If Javonte Gibson ends with 3 catches for 36 yards, I'm okay with that against Kent State. Like, you just need to get out there and get him in some game type, because I promise you, adrenaline down in Dallas is going to get him jacked up. Getting in and seeing some. I mean, this was the same defense that he was balling out against in the spring.
It is exactly
nothing different.
And then getting Eli back, and he's going to be able to help with that corner spot. Like, I'm not down on Cortland, and I'm gonna do a video on him hopefully in the next sometime tomorrow, because I am excited at the fact that, like I said, he has a very short memory, and he's gonna go out there and keep balling. And Eli is going to give him someone to switch up with, and as Eli gets back into quote unquote game shape and get acclimated with everybody around him again, because Eli is going to be your dude that's going to be trailing some of your best. And the good thing is, especially with the way just the entire secondary is playing, the way Peyton Bowen has been all over the dang place, and Robert Spears-Jennings being available, Reggie Powers mixing in with some Kendall Daniels, who I know is dealing with some ailments as well, and he'll be able to have a time to rest because Kendall Dobie's out there. The entire secondary sees a boost getting Eli back, and then Eli, like I said, this is another great game for him. Kent State, Eli can go out there and get himself reacclimated as well. But lastly, though, as everybody keeps mentioning, thank you, Lee, for Lee Bird. Thanks for the $2. Kanik is that dude. Kanik, he that dude.
I saw a clip where everybody was kung fu fight, like right when he makes the kick, and it just made me laugh. Guys, I don't know if I wish that we had one more year at Kanik. I just wish that we got another one because I think that with the failure at linebacker, he's going to go down. He's going to be remembered for the next 10, 15, 20 years. But having him for 2 years would have been a spectacular, journey for all of us. I think Gabe had mentioned that he wanted to see him hurdle some guys because they've been going for his thigh pads.
And you got him karate kicking somebody in the chest.
He's Jackie Channing some folks, and it was funny. It was really, really funny.
Quite hilarious, yeah.
But what's crazy about this, Jay, is Kanik's still learning the dadgum position. Like he still makes some mistakes where you're like, dude, there was a pass where he ran out to a zone and he didn't stop in the stop point and he didn't run through to the run point. He kind of just drifted and it was incompletion, but he continues to run that route correctly. He probably scores a 60-some-odd yard touchdown.
Yep.
This guy is still learning a lot, and he's going to be a big factor for Kanik. For Hawkins too. And just everybody going forward, because again, when you have a little bit more of an intense running game, and you have some more threats on the outside, that opens up the middle, and doesn't matter whether it's Mateer or Hawkins. Somebody has to account for both Kanik and the quarterback, and so. I'm here for more Kanik action. I would like to see him get about 8 catches for 90 yards or something like that and pad that stat. But if I would have told anybody in the chat if that Kanik, midway through the season was the odds-on favorite to be the all-SEC tight end, again, padded room, straight jacket. There's the ninja kick. I don't even know what I don't even think it was a ninja kick. I don't think that he knew what was happening. I think he jumped, and then it was just like, now what?
Yeah, I think I'm jumping too early, and then he figured out, I did probably jump too early. But, yeah, no, you want Kanik to get some action in Kent State, too. And Gabe mentioned it, I agree with him. I want them to make some design plays to Kanik. Let's get him out. And don't make him a safety, no, don't make him the guy you dump to, as a safety blanket. No, make some design plays for him. So we'll see. I think that they will figure that out. I'm pretty excited about the direction that Arbuckle's going with the offense. And like I said, this injury report makes me excited that Kent State's going to be because we'll get this whole week all the way through next week, and then we'll get to see him next week against Kent State. We'll be able to see what this offense potential truly is, because we'll get way more players to play. So shout out to David Chamberlain. Thank you for the $5. Everything will be okay. Hawkins is a baller. Every goal is still achievable. Stay positive, one game at a time. Exactly. They look at it one game at a time. We look at it one game at a time. So, Coop, it's time to talk a little bit about schedules, because the schedule came out. This bad boy has dropped. So we're going to dive into it. Thank y'all for pulling up. Please hit that like button if you are new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Let's take a gander at Oklahoma dropping this. There is no update on Mateer yet. We probably won't hear anything till tomorrow. Hey, that's a good question there. Thanks for the $2. Have we heard anything about Heineke and his hand? Now, that's a fascinating one. Before we jump into this schedule piece, Coop, that was crazy that he went out there, made the tackle, held his hand, ran off the field, supposedly was bleeding all over the place, possibly had a bone popping out. They cast him up, and he goes back in the game.
It just means more. Or as GMAC says, it's always meant more. It's Oklahoma, right?
It's Oklahoma.
And I mean, when you win more than half of the Big 12 championships in the time of our time in the Big 12, like when this defense is doing what it's doing, it makes guys like Jay. I have a very, very, very good feeling. You and I have talked about this quite a bit. Eli Bowen's coming back, not because it's the right thing to do, but every single dude that's playing on this defense is getting mentioned.
Yeah.
Every single guy that's participating in this defense is getting mentioned. There's now scouts who are going to be at the Kent State game watching everybody on defense, not for just this year, but for the coming years, because you start kind of planning some things. Owen Heineke is one of those reasons. I mean, Owen Heineke and Jaron Kanak are the two, like, bless your heart stories that have turned into, no, they're dudes. And, way back in early 2000s, same thing with Rocky Kalmus. Rocky Kalmus went out, broke his hand, cast it up, and I believe he had a pick one game with a broken hand. And I can't remember who it was against. Maybe at Kansas, I'm not sure. But still, like, big, goofy, lumbering white linebacker with a club. And so you hear things like Ronnie Lott, broke his finger and was it like bit it off or something, like mid-game, wrapped it up and went back out and started playing. Like, this is the type of mentality that these guys have. They want to go out there. They want to participate. They want to, bleed for each other. And they're having fun, Jay. And that's what we talked about it on, I think it was in our Discord. This defense not only knows that they're good, but they're almost like, please run a play against us. Yep. I bring up the Kendall Daniels. There was a 4th and 2 where Auburn got up and tried to draw us off sides. Yep. Got up, and Kendall Daniels is up there, and he's going like this. Like, he is like,
bring it.
He's like, you're not going to do it. You know that you don't want this heat. You don't want this smoke. Like, that's where this defense is playing right now. Is there are, I mean, yeah, are you going to have plays to where they got you that play? Sure. But Jay, I'm also of the opinion, and listening to Teddy, I think that he agrees with me on rewatch number 3. This defense still hasn't even played their best game yet.
They haven't yet. We've
like
still
Auburn
got
was kind of a B- defensive performance, even with everything that they did. They had a lot of failures. So they're still looking, and that's the thing that's driving them is every single new opportunity, they want to make records. And now that they had that 10th sack pulled off, I bet you they're like, I bet we can try it again.
I agree. I'm with you on that. I think that that's actually a very good point. So, yeah, it's actually very good. So they're going to play better. They've got the opportunity to. And they've got to just not miss on certain things that they were missing on before. And I think they'll stop at this point. I think we'll see them. Like I said, they'll take that 4-week film, go through it, and figure out where they were missing on stuff, and say, hey, this is where we need to improve. And so the good thing is we've got bye weeks built in. It's going to help with that. So, all right, let's look at this schedule before we get out of here. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. New to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Shout out to our sponsor over there at Sleeper. Check them out. Use our code UNFAIR. They're going to hook you up with a 100% match on your first $100 deposit. Just use our code UNFAIR. That's what we got, Coop. So 2020, for the next 4 years, as we all know, Ole Miss is one of our opponents. We already figured that part out. They gave us Ole Miss with Missouri and Texas. And, of course, a lot of people aren't really feeling it. Lane Kiffin had some things to say on it. He's like, there's really nothing to it. Like, why? That's kind of surprising that it's Oklahoma. We don't really have a rivalry, blah, blah, blah. I'm paraphrasing what he said. And, I totally understand why he said that, mainly because it's like, yeah, why Ole Miss? I think they did it more so It's a just pick something different for us because, geographically, A&M would have made sense because of the old Big 12. But your problem with that is A&M already has other teams that they need to have in theirs, right? They've got Louisiana, Texas, and Arkansas, which are teams they are rivals with. Arkansas has the team north of them, south of them, and then Texas, in which they've been a rival with Texas for years from the old
Southwest
SWAC,
Conference.
Yeah, Southwest Conference, the old SWAC era, but they ain't played but twice in the last 30 years. Now we're finally back to it, right? So because of that, we just kind of got left on the island of where we can get picked on this first iteration of this. So I understood the Ole Miss pick. But what really got me is who we actually playing, though, Coop, on the schedule. So 26, Kentucky, South Carolina, and A&M come to the crib. Yeah, So we get South Carolina. We get them at another year. Ole Miss comes back, so they'll be in Oklahoma back-to-back seasons. That was odd to me, but whatevs. Then we travel to Florida, Georgia, and Mississippi State. So we get some pretty cool places to go. Like I wouldn't mind going to Stark Vegas and hearing the Cowbells just because it's different. But of course, going to Athens is going to be legit. Same thing with going out there to the Swamp. We get that action, but you also get you get Kentucky, which everybody wants. But the A&M one, woo. That's going to be that's going to be a tough one. And what Levy's doing at Mississippi State is going to be interesting. But the way they doing it, though, instead of you doing it back-to-back years of flipping, the next year it's the other teams that you didn't play in a home and away setup in 27, which that's where Bama comes to town, Arkansas comes to town, and Tennessee comes back to town, which is from 2 years later, a flip. And then we go to Auburn, LSU, and Vanderbilt, which is a flip from this year. Then 28, you get 26 flipped, and then in 29, you get 27 flipped. That, to me, is intriguing how they did all of that. And honestly, I actually like the schedule. What did you think about it when you saw it?
I'll go Lane Kiffin first. I agree with him in principle. Why? This has nothing to do with it. I think that there's a lot of why would you give us Oklahoma? Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, Jay, is Ole Miss and Oklahoma, they're not battling out for very many recruits.
Nope.
We were going to get them 2 years in a row regardless, and then they forget about it, and then 2 years, then forget about it.
Yep.
But now you're playing Oklahoma every single year. So I think that, number one, he probably wanted a Kentucky. He probably wanted an easier game. Number two, if you play Oklahoma every year for 4 years, now all of a sudden these recruiting battles that he's trying to fight off other teams for, now you add another team in there that's going to be speaking to the same kids, because you can say, hey, man, we play Ole Miss every year. We're going to play at your house twice. Play at our house twice. So why don't you come check out Oklahoma? Now, Lane has been doing better in the transfer portal than he has recruiting, and it's not because, it's not by design. That's where they've been able to go and be more successful. But at the same time, I just say this, I think that there was a lot of sour grapes there because he did not want to fight over recruits with Oklahoma also, on top of Alabama, Georgia, etc. Hey, man, this is just something new. I'm glad they only put it out to 2029 because, Jay, if you talk about play-ins in 2030, miss me with that because, I'm not going to believe you for one iota. And I know 2030 ain't that long away. That's 5 years, but if my math is right. But I'm just saying that college football is changing so quickly and so frequently. This is good for the next couple of years. But now, as a fan, you got some visits lined up. I know that I'm trying to go to Ann Arbor this next year. I think we're all trying to do that. But, yeah, getting a chance to go, all right, well, let's go check out Vanderbilt, or let's go check out, I've never done the Kentucky game. And, you get a little bit later in the year, maybe you can go catch a basketball game too, because Rupp Arena is, that's one of the, best places to play in the country. Yeah, it's legendary. It's got so much history. So I think that these are really, really cool things. Obviously the Texas game is going to be there. The Missouri thing, just kind of, it is what it is at this point. Like, you're forcing the issue, but this is why we came to the SEC.
I do like the fact that we're guaranteed 4 home and 4 away no matter what. That's probably the one thing that I'm glad that they made sure, since it's 9 games, it perfectly lines up for us. It lines up perfectly for Georgia, Florida. They don't have – it's always going to be 4 home, 4 away, whereas right now, this year, we got the luck of the draw because we get 3 road games and we've got more home games. We get 4 home games, 4 home games, the neutral site game, and then only 3 road games this year. So, worked out, whereas last year it was the opposite. I am glad that they made sure that, you got a neutral site game, you're always going to be 4-4, and then everybody else can have their 5-4. It's cool or whatnot, but us, Georgia, Florida, and Texas benefit from the fact that it's always a guaranteed that. And some, it don't work that way. What is it? The ACC is doing theirs, and they're going to have a team every year that only plays 8 conference games while everybody else plays 9 because they got too many teams, and they can't divvy up the schedule properly. Yeah. That's just so silly to me.
Like you said, it's a new thing. There's a lot to talk about there. Anything past this, last year, again, with the 4-4, you got that set. Last year, we were the home team against Texas, so we had one more road game. This year, we're the visitor team, so we got one more home game. And it's just weird and awkward to divvy it up that way when we know that it's, right between both OU and Texas. So, but every 4 years, you're going to at least play everybody once, right? So you're going to get everybody in there. You're going to go to Georgia at some point. But as I start looking at this, I look at 2026 as a potential Mike Hawkins year, right? 2027, you're looking at Bo Bentley. 28, 29, it's up in the air. It's hard to predict that out that far just because we've seen quarterback shuffling happen quite a bit. So, but you would take a look at those things, and man, this is like I said, this is why you went to the SEC. Is that you can get excited about a 2029, away game. Right now in the middle of September of 25, because I promise you this, we'd talk about it. We just wouldn't talk about it as much if it was like, oh, we go to Iowa State in 2029.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. And I'm glad it's only 4 years, and I'm glad that at the 4th year they'll reevaluate it, which, as you mentioned before, the reason is because college football is changing so much. It makes 0 sense to try to line this up right now when in all actuality things are probably going to change within the next 2 years. There may be a big change. Actually, whatever change comes through will most likely come through and change right after it'll probably change right after probably 2030 will be the year that if they do a big change or restructure or whatnot, it'll probably happen then because we've got the 4 years and everybody else is doing the same thing. So I like that. So in 4 years, Ole Miss will be changed. Missouri probably won't because of the Big 8 ties. Texas, of course, won't be. They'll add a new rival, and I guess they'll see what others are. But, all right, let's wrap up, put a bow on it. Questions are in here. Everyone's asking about Jaden Gibson. There's 0 update on Jaden Gibson. That's all I can say. Nothing public has come out. It appears that he is still around, but they probably, with as many wide receivers as we've got, no reason to rush him back. Giovanni is a monster in the spring, and they want him on the field. You still got Zion Kearney. You still got Ivan Carrion. Elijah Thomas, we need to get going and get him going deep. But right now, it's just we'll have to wait and see with Jaden Gibson. I'll just say that.
I don't expect to see Jaden Gibson this year. Me personally.
Me
so if you're watching this live, if you're watching this tonight, I would say there's a better chance that you're going to see Santa hopping down the chimney than you're going to see Jaden Gibson this year.
Fair point. I don't see Gibson coming back either. I'm not really worried about Jaden right now. I think we're good in the wide receiver room. That's the good thing, is that I don't have any concerns in the wide receiver room, so I have no reason to be worried about when he's going to come back. So we good. What are Gundy's chances in the portal? Reasonable backups? The thing is that you can't, if you get anybody out of the portal that's in the portal because their coach is gone, they can't play this year. So it doesn't really matter. So truth be told, I wouldn't touch a single one of them.
Listen,
whatsoever.
If you watch that OSU Tulsa game, the players they were highlighting, it sounded like you're watching an Adam Sandler movie. This guy played at Saratoga State after never playing high school football. He was a wrestler until his dad went for a pack of cigarettes and never came back. It's like there's all these weird stories. Like they brought in 60-some-odd guys. None of them are good. I would say this, even with the recruits, there's probably nobody on that, I'm throwing in Jones and Overton, Beal. There's probably none of those guys that we're going to take a run at. Right. We cooled on a lot of those guys, and they're going to say what they're going to say, and that's protection. You want to make it your decision, but I just don't think it's odd that happened. Like it was kind of funny actually that the Gundy information, and then Mateer comes out, and everybody's talking about that, and everybody kind of was like, oh yeah, Gundy's gone. But man, I just it's going, whoever they get, they got to rebuild. I mean, it literally is studs up, for Oklahoma State, and man, they sold their soul out for that last Bedlam win. You still got some of their guys, kind of celebrating that, and it just seems silly. But
it really does.
Want to see them at least be competitive.
Meh.
Maybe.
Meh. We'll see what happens with them next. Sissy on the Mateer's thumbs. No updates yet. Probably won't hear anything until tomorrow. So we're going to keep our eyes and ears to the ground to see if something comes through then. And then, of course, luckily I'll be in one spot for the next couple of days, and I'll try to get something out as soon as we hear something. I will say this.
Go ahead. I did see somebody Photoshop Mateer with an Iron Man hand on.
Yeah, I did see
and,
that.
And I will tell you this.
Going ridiculous over it. It's hilarious.
A homeboy with the live update, and if you guys have not seen it, go to Twitter, go look for it. Apparently there's an OU fan in L.A.
Carson Green.
Yes, yeah, Carson went to and dropped off an OU pennant to Dr. Shin. That made me laugh, just because dude also dropped his height and weight and 40 time in there.
Yeah.
Bravo.
It's pretty funny.
Bravo.
It's worth a listen just because it's actually pretty hilarious. But yeah, he dropped it off. So I'm trying to see. I think that's really most of them. The question about Kennick was interesting. What made you think it took so long for Kennick to make the switch? Was it on his end or the staff? So my understanding is Kennick came to the staff about making the switch. He just wasn't working out at linebacker. He just wasn't. So he decided to talk to him about making the switch, and BV said, yep, you can do that, but if we need you at linebacker, we're going to bring you back over here. He agreed, and now he's one of the top tight ends in the country right now, and so I don't expect him to switch back. I actually expect, I said before, they're going to find a way to run some plays through him, which I hope we hurry up and figure out.
And I'll just say this. Kennick wasn't a quarterback / H-back in high school. That's what his position was. It was taking measurables and trying to translate it. And I will say also that I think that Keenan could have probably made the transition a little bit better for a different linebackers coach. Somebody who was a little bit more simplified. Brent Venables asks a lot from his linebackers. Those guys are the orchestrators of the defense. You see how many times Kip and Kobe are up there, Danny last year, up in there like readjusting the alignment by the defensive linemen, where the safeties are, the splits, on stack coverage for the defensive backs. Like, these guys are the orchestrators. And if you're trying to learn what the position is and doing all that stuff, I mean, that's a tough ask. And, man, in this world, Jay, when you're not good at something, that's a hard look in the mirror and say, like, this ain't it, and maybe I could do something else.
Yeah, and I'm proud that he was able to come to that conclusion and say, you know what, I probably should play another position. I'm athletic enough, I can do it, and here we are. So keep your eyes open and eyes peeled for more to come down the line. Thank you for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. We're going to get out of here. Let Coop get back to the family. Y'all enjoy y'all's evening. We'll have more, whatever comes down the line, we will let y'all know. So enjoy your, what's this, Wednesday? We'll talk soon. Peace.